Yo guys, it's Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. I just saw Twisters, directed by Lee Isaac Chung, starring Daisy Edgar Jones, Anthony Ramos, and the now beloved Glenn Powell, who seems to be in everything. It's a good cast, and they do their job. There's not a lot to say about this film, really. I expected to have a lot to say when I came out of the theater. Even about halfway through the film, I felt that I would have a lot to say. But I'm not stumped. I'm not really at a loss for words. It's just that there's not a whole lot to talk about. Not a lot works well for this film, in my opinion. It's an okay film. I suppose it's a sequel to Twister from, I believe, the early 90s. It could be a reboot. I don't really know. There's no callbacks to it, really. There's very few callbacks to the original film, but not in any way that allows you to understand whether or not this is a straight up reboot or a sequel. Either way, I don't think it matters. Daisy Edgar Jones is wonderful. Glenn Powell, as we know now, is wonderful. Anthony Ramos, I think, is a very underrated actor in Hollywood, and I think he's spectacular in all that he does. So I'm going to start with the bad and hopefully end on a good note. So I'm all for manipulating a plot so that it works and it helps to drive the film forward, and I'm okay with the belief that you can manipulate people and other things to make a plot work, but I don't buy into the idea that you can manipulate Mother Nature. And there's some things that happen that are just so convenient to the plot, and I get that you need that in order to drive it forward, but it just doesn't make sense when it comes to Mother Nature. There's no controlling that. It's just a beast, and there's nothing you can do about that. And there was numerous times when I rolled my eyes and I went, there's no way that would happen. It just doesn't make sense. It's out of place. It's out of character for Mother Nature. And Mother Nature really is a character in this film, which makes sense considering the film is called Twisters. But there's so much that I didn't like about it in that regard, and it steals from the plot. And then there's multiple plots, really. Pick one and stick to it. And I think had they stuck to one plot, I would have been able to suspend disbelief and gone, all right, but there's already so much, and they were piling on at this point with the negatives that I couldn't look past it. There's a romance that takes place. It's subtle, and I appreciate that, but I don't think a romance needs to exist at any point throughout the course of this film. I think that it needs to focus on one specific thing. It's what we're introduced to at the start of the film, and that should have been what carried us through to the end. It's very wishy-washy, and it moves from plot to plot. And then we even develop an antagonist. Mother Nature is okay being the antagonist. It's okay for that to be the thing. But we develop an antagonist that's not even fully fleshed out. So it's not even like we can get on board with that. There's just a poor attempt to develop an antagonist. I won't spoil who it is. It may or may not be one of the three individuals that are named. There are obviously a lot of other individuals present in the film as well. I didn't like the soundtrack. I will rephrase. I enjoyed the music itself. It does not work within the confines of the film. It just doesn't work. And I don't understand why we're pushing this music into the film. It's out of place, and it steals from the emotion, or the attempt at emotion, because I didn't feel an emotional connection to these characters whatsoever. It meant nothing to me. I just wanted to see a film about Twisters. I wanted to see the original plot line that you understand from watching the trailer be the one that follows, that you follow throughout the entirety of the film. I didn't get any of the things that I wanted. I didn't get any of the things that I felt were necessary to develop the film appropriately. I didn't get any emotion, and that soundtrack steals from that emotion, detracts from it even more, and it's already struggling. It's already on life support. What I do like about the film is it is very immersive. I haven't seen the original Twister in so long, and this feels far more immersive than that. So I do really appreciate that. You do end up in the middle of a tornado multiple times, and I think that works for the film. It's your only opportunity to get action in a film like this. I think you want action, and you're you're hoping for it and you're expecting it, but it's hard to develop action when, you know, there's no fight sequences. There's nothing of that nature. It's just people and tornadoes. So I think that because it's so immersive, you get an element of action that ends up working. But that's like my one positive takeaway. There was so much that I didn't care for in this film, and I was pretty disappointed. If you like, I don't know, if you like thrillers, I guess you can consider it a thriller. It's, I guess, meant to be a drama, but again, there's just not that emotional connection that I wanted with the characters. So I find it difficult to label it a drama either. It sort of exists to me. I don't know if I'd recommend that anyone go see this. I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 10. It's fine. It's worth the risk if you're looking for something either to waste some time or you're intrigued by what you see in the trailer. It does obviously play a role, not as big a role as I mentioned as I wanted it to. But I'm going to give this film, Twisters, a 5 out of 10. Again, I don't highly recommend this. I don't think you should spend any money on this. It's worth the risk if you had the time, but I've warned you. Until next time, peace.